Okay, so this next set is called Sparkling Jewel. A little bit different from the last set. And we're looking for the most dominant yellow, orange, red, violet, blue, green again. And in this particular set, believe it or not, mustard green, which dries with a little bit of a green gold cast to it. These I did earlier on the cardstock so you can see how they shimmer. It is the most yellow color in the set. This is called Copper Penny. This is Cranberry. Now in some other set you might say this has the more violet, kind of like that Passion in the last set, but this has the most red, and Snapdragon, which I'm really having trouble seeing how this camera's picking it up, because Snapdragon is the most beautiful, rich violet, a pure violet. It's a real clean violet in the set. This is called Blue Flame, and our green is Irish Mist. Definitely a bright, bright, bright Kelly green. Lots of things we can do with this. So I've got my cake set up here. The iridescences that are in this set are going to be Iridescent Green, Iridescent Violet, and Green Pearl, Violet Pearl, Orange Pearl, but they are iridescent colors. They're transparent and they're perfect for mixing. So yeah, I've had these written out ready to do with you guys for a while when we tried to do a go live twice, 2 weekends in a row, and there was some technical stuff. I think I figured it out, but at least for these instructional videos, I'm able to cut up the time and just hopefully show you guys what's relevant so I can save you the most time on reviewing these sets. Okay, so first color I'm going to put in here is that mustard. It is a very, very earthy yellow is the dominant color in it, green. Very unusual, not what you're going to be used to seeing, but believe me, it has its place. Definitely when it's mixed with other colors. Believe me, we're going to be mixing this with other colors. This is a handy color, but right now it's the most yellow. The Copper Penny has the most orange. Now, Copper Penny has some other metallic micas in it, like literally a little bit of the copper that sits on the surface. So this is not quite as transparent as some of our other colors. It gives you really good coverage, but it was named for the fact that it dries a lot like a brand new Copper Penny, and for the purpose of this set, it is the most orange in this set. Cranberry is the next color. Again, now compare this to the Passion. It's a little bit on the pink side of the cranberry. I realize that many of us are used to a more, cranberry, like when we make cranberry sauce out of on Thanksgiving. So think of this more on the pink violet side of the cranberry. It does have some other interesting micas that dry that'll give it more of a finish. See how the copper dries and how that cranberry dries. Next color is Snapdragon. Snapdragon and Boysenberry, two of my most favorite purples in the line. Clean, 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 pretty violet. Reminds me of those beautiful snapdragons or petunias in my yard in spring. Unfortunately, cameras are strange. Blues read green, greens read blue, and Snapdragon, sometimes on my camera here as I'm looking at it, really has a blue tone, but it is the cleanest, most middle-of-the-road violet, basically clean purple that we have. So don't be deceived if your monitor's kind of showing it a little bit bluish. It's not. Especially next to Blue Flame, which is a blue. I still had a little water left in my brush. Now the Blue Flame is just just a little bit deeper, different family than that majestic blue, the other blue that we used. And I believe it dries with a blue finish. Yes, it does. It dries with a blue finish. Completely different shade of blue than majestic blue. And then the Luck of the Yiddish, this is a definitely, as it sounds, a bright Kelly green. But so many possibilities can be mixed when you're starting with a clean Kelly green. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the majestic blue and the other, but I'm going to start with the Snapdragon and show you that you can take your interference violet, iridescent violet, violet pearl. Sorry, there's so many names. I have to get that out of my language, but I just know that the technical term is interference. I just take some of this violet pearl, put it on my mixer. These guys are starting to get a little bit, one drop, and I wet them down with one, oops, that's too much actually. Believe it or not, while the water's still water, I can still transfer it before it has a tendency to, just one drop of water to the cake, just to kind of keep that moisture going. There we go. And really, really light value, I'm just going to grab one drop. Now, I am comfortable putting iridescent or violet pearl on my brush, knowing I can dip into the violet Snapdragon cake, the violet color. I'm not going to taint it. This Snapdragon's already made with the violet pearl in it. I'm not going to hurt it. But the opposite doesn't go. Don't put down your purple and then dip into your violet pearl, because you don't want to taint your iridescent mixers. When that's really, really light, I didn't get very much violet on there. It's almost too transparent. Grab a tiny bit more violet. Boy, this is so light. Hopefully this will show up next to our color. Yep, there we go. So I've taken some of the violet pearl, mixed it with just a small amount of the Snapdragon. I've made a tiny bit more water here just to get this to move on the paper. I've made a lighter value of my color, and it'll dry really pretty. You're going to get a lot of that iridescent violet in there that's in that violet pearl. You see that in there. Okay, well then let's see what we can do with these two colors. We were having fun doing greens. I'm really interested in what happens with the mustard green and the Irish mist. Take a tiny bit of my mustard green. I think it's almost going to be equal parts. Let's start with that, because that, all I did was just take a tiny bit off my brush, but I think my brush was kind of wet. I'm going to rinse it off, blot my brush, and when I say blot, I'm completely taking all the water out. You just can't see me do it on camera. And take a tiny bit of this, well, not tiny, we're going to do equal amounts. This is Irish Mist. Okay, so now we've made a more earthier version of our green. Hoping I've made enough of it. I think I'm going to put that over here. Now that's with kind of equal parts. But what if I wanted to add more mustard green to it? Wow. mustard green's really gooey. I'm getting a lot just on a little bit of a brush. Sorry, I don't need very much mustard green to make what's up there more mustard. I'm kind of like trying to pull into this and avoid all that mustard I just pulled off. I guess I'm going to have to make something with that. But I just wanted to make this green just a shade more olive by adding just a wee bit more of that mustard again, getting some of those earthy tones. Okay, now what happens if I mix the, ooh, that'll be pretty, mixing some of this Irish mist directly with the blue flame. You know, I might get a teal. I first want to try to get more of a foresty green because this is already starting with a really clean green, and so this will make this pretty. So let's take some of this Irish mist, and since that blue is so strong, I know it is, I'm just going to put a dollop in just to pick up a tiny bit in that cake. Wow, already it's toned it down from that bright Kelly green. It's a little bit more it's subtle. Hopefully the camera can pick it up. It's very subtle difference. You may not see it yet when you're painting it. That would be one shade. But let's add just one more bit of the blue. See how I'm getting a darker green? So you can get some variations if you're painting florals or landscapes or need those deeper shades of green. Now I'm going to go a little bit more blue and see what happens. Now that's a lot. I was very generous on that when I picked up a lot of blue. I'm purposely trying to make it more blue than green and see what happens. I need to add a tiny bit of water because this is getting kind of too creamy. This is almost a teal. See if I can put that next to here. Still foresty. Maybe I wished I had put it here. I'm going to see how this dries because this is almost turning fallowy greenish. And if I add more blue, what happens? For the sake of the camera, I'm going to pull just some of that color we've already got mixed and pull it down into some more blue and see what I can get here. I want to get a shade where the blue is dominant and the green is like the non-dominant out of the two. Wow, that's giving me almost almost made Bolivian blue one of the colors in our line. By the way, Bolivian blue is a gorgeous color. It will be on hold until it's re-released in the set. If you happen to love Bolivian blue, order them in whatever set or individual jars you can right now. We're no longer pouring the individual jars. So, okay, so now I want you to see what's happened. This is the Irish mist mixed with a tiny bit of the mustard and more mustard. This is the Irish mist mixed with 1 bit of blue, 2 bits of blue, 3 bits of blue, and we're still getting green. More blue than the green. Let's get a close-up. Look at what we're getting here. I'm liking that color right there. That's really pretty. Now, I'll try to thin this out. I haven't been doing them on this cardstock, but just so you can see if the shade pulls out for us. That's really pretty. So that's what happens when we're mixing maybe 3 parts to blue flame of 2 parts of that Irish mist You're gonna have to experiment like I did. And as I did over here is, I'm thinking, okay, I need to isolate the blue on one side and pull some of that green over. That's what I did. Okay, so there is so the very next set, as promised, is Kaleidoscope. Kaleidoscope is has sunflower in it. Now, on camera you may say, oh gosh, that looks a little bit like Sunburst. Well, the mic is very, very different. A lot of people love the antique gold over the bright high yellow, and other people prefer the bright high yellow over the antique gold. So when we came out with these first 60 colors, which we're relaunching 60 out of our 210, we had to put that in there. This is orange peel, probably the cleanest, most middle of the road, bright orange. These swatches I just painted aren't quite dry yet, but they will be for the end so we can see the mica. This color is called Black Cherry. Now, here's something that's going to be confusing. There is actually no purple in this set. Technically, Black Cherry can fit a red category, or as you've seen in our other sets, the earlier sets, a red violet can also be the most contrasting to the yellow. This actually, the camera is not picking up the blue-green of this, because this color is actually called Bluegrass, and this was kind of the beginning of us going towards more teal, but it looks like the camera is making this look like a bright Kelly green. I apologize. This is the beginning of us getting into the blue-greens. As many of you fans know, over the last 15 years we've made some other teals, but this is the color called Bluegrass. This is Ocean Wave, just a really pretty different type of clean blue and a blue. This color is called Moss. Now, it's not as yellow as the mustard green. It'll actually dry with a green shimmer. And I'll show you guys this at the end of this. I'm trying to rush because I can hear the gardeners in the neighborhood coming towards us, and I want to get these next two sets out of the way before they get too loud and I have to stop filming. So I'm apologizing if I seem like I'm rushing for a little bit. The iridescences that are in this set are blue pearl, green pearl, and gold pearl. Okay, so let's give this sunflower a little bit of a go. Oh, I had too much water on my brush. I hate that when that happens. Don't you hate that when that happens? I'm gonna scrape this off, make sure all the water gets in there, and try to get a piece up here of the paint where it's a little bit more concentrated, so you guys can get a good indication of what this color looks like. Yeah, I drew these charts out, wrote the names on them in advance, so I make sure I had everything mapped out. I'm apologizing right now if the names on there are distracting, but definitely hear the gardener. I'll try to do the noise reduction on this video and hopefully it pulls it out. Sounds like he's 2 houses over. This is the orange pearl, orange peel, excuse me, orange peel, like the peel of an orange that you eat. This is the black cherry. Very, very dark, and like I said, this can fit a red category. This actually has enough violet in there, sort of a red violet onto it, so it's definitely going to be contrasting with the yellow. All three of these colors are beautiful together for florals or some beautiful autumn looks. And when the sunflower dries, you're going to see how that antique pearl kind of changes that color. It's in an antique gold. This color is Bluegrass. As I said, it's basically the beginning of the teal. You might say, is this a blue or is this a green? And it really is greenish. I'm gonna have to stop, folks. They're getting really close. So let me get the ocean wave on here. It's okay, I'm gonna stop the camera. I'll start it again because I want to do some color mixing on these colors. But I'll at least let you see me get to the end of painting the 6 colors actually in this set. Thank you for your understanding. I'll be right back in a little bit, probably about an hour, to do some color mixing. Talk to you soon. Bye. Okay, everyone, I'm back. Had to do a quick cutaway. The gardeners were doing some work outside and getting so loud we couldn't hear each other. The swatches that I did are nice and dry now, so we can see how the iridescence on the sunflower, even though it's a bright yellow, it's got more of an antique gold to it. This is that orange peel, cranberry. In this set there really isn't a violet. You could use this as the violet and lighten it up a little bit with an iridescent, which we'll do next, just to play with some stuff. But because we didn't really have a violet, we put bluegrass in its spot. And here in this camera, because boy, cameras photograph blue, green, and green's blue, you can't see that this is beginning to come towards a turquoise look. And then we've got Ocean Wave, and this is moss green, and you can see the green mica in it, but it's kind of a mustardy green. Just to recap, we've got the 3 iridescents that are in this set are the blue, the iridescent green, and the gold. So for mixing, let's see, I know I want to do something with this green and I don't want to do something with this blue, but I think I'm going to start with doing something with a moss green. I know I'm going to my comfort zone here because the greens with can be manipulated to be more yellow, more olive, more foresty, more key lime. So I guess the first thing I'm going to do here is get a little bit of this moss green out, a couple spots. And first I'm going to see what happens if I add some of the bluegrass, since it's already going toward, especially on the camera, it's going towards a Kelly green, even though it's more tealy. I'm going to mix that in there, and of course we know that's going to give us more of a what you call it, more of an earthy, but it's a green. It's more of what we would be considering a green. Definitely a different shade than this, much different. May not be able to tell yet, but they're different. It's so funny how the camera is making this look like Kelly green and it's not. So let's paint out as much of that as possible. Okay, and then take that same moss green, and I'm going to add some of the Ocean Wave. Actually mix it with the blue. Now I want to be really careful not to taint my blue cake, so I'm actually rinsing my brush off, blotting it. Gonna grab a little bit more blue. Now it's not a true blue-green, it's going to be kind of a dirtier because the moss itself has other colors in it that give it more of a dirty mustardy green, even though it's not really mustard green, it's more of a moss. Color of moss. So that's interesting mixed with the Ocean Wave. Where I think we're really going to have fun is taking this Bluegrass, pulling some of that out. And I'm going to add some of the Ocean Wave to this Bluegrass, and it's a pretty almost even amount, maybe a little bit less of the blue than what I've got in here, but I'm trying to go for a nice blue teal. Turquoise, it's more in the blue family. Just add a little tiny bit of water in there to get it to work. Cakes are getting kind of creamy. That's taking it to a bluish teal. That's the Bluegrass. Actually, I probably should have put that up there. Just gonna draw a line there that way. No, that's my Bluegrass. Sorry, my own little reference point. And I don't know, I'm actually going to add some of this gold sunflower yellow, because it's going to give me a different kind of green by adding the yellow to this green, than because our moss green has already got a different kind of browny yellow to it. I'm going to pick up this, yeah, see, I knew we could get a much prettier, brighter green. Add a little bit of yellow to it. And that's actually adding yellow to the Bluegrass. So the Bluegrass can add blue and you get this smoky teal, like the Ocean Wave. Add the sunflower yellow. I'm getting more of a brighter spring green. Yeah, I know you can't tell the difference in the camera. Sorry, it's kind of affecting it because that still looks Kelly green, but in my eye, this has more blue to it, so it's almost going teal. Adding the blue to it, you're actually getting a teal. Adding the sunflower to it, I'm getting a lighter green. And if I add a little bit more sunflower to it, just to keep bringing it up to a higher yellow green. That's even prettier. Boy, that color is going to look really pretty next to this black cherry. Can't control myself. I know for a fact these two colors are going to pop right next to another. Real pretty. So that's like 2 little drops of the yellow. Actually extra yellow added. So it was 50-50 Bluegrass and sunflower to kind of get this shade. And adding more yellow got this shade, and you can keep going further up the line. Add a little bit more yellow to what you've got to the yellow here and just pull that down in there. You can see. So you can get more and more and more and more yellow until you get to the color that you really, really want. So that's Kaleidoscope. Let me reset this. I'll be right back. So this is the Kaleidoscope. These were the colors that were dry. You wanted to see them in the camera completely dry. These are the colors, the ones that we've mixed. You know, before we go, I'm going to do one more mix, and this, it's risky because this has all three colors in it, but I want to see what happens if I try to get some kind of a, I don't know, a warmer black cherry, or I wipe this all down. So this is the black cherry, which is really, really red violet. Actually not warm, I'm going to go bluer, that's what it was. I want to add a little bit of blue. Get my brush clean because I don't want to get that black cherry in that blue cake. And see if I can't make this more of a violet. I know there's other things in here, so it's not going to make like a pure, you know, like when you're mixing blue and red. There's other micas in that black cherry that kind of make it more like a Merlot-Red. But still, look at this. We're getting a different shade. Not bad. Let me add a little bit of water to it so it flows a little bit easier on this paper. It's a blue violet, but it's not bad. Actually, not bad at all. So by taking a little bit of the black cherry and maybe two little parts of the blue, we got sort of a gray, grapey color. It's kind of a grapey violet. It'll work if you need a purple, and this is the only set that you've got. And I suddenly realized I was ready to wrap it up. I suddenly realized I didn't mix any of these with an iridescent. Let's see, my choices are green, blue, gold. Well, a lighter value of the orange I would mix with the gold or this. The blue, of course, I can get a lighter shade of blue. That's kind of obvious. The green would be really pretty mixed in this Bluegrass. I think that was kind of my point. And then add a touch of blue. Let's try that. We're running out of spaces here, but let's try that before we say goodbye to this group. Put a little interference green here. And one little trick that's also fun is blues are very interesting in how they can be mixed. You can take blue and mix it with interference green. You can mix it with obviously interference blue, but you can also put it in interference violet. You don't have any in this set, but I'm going to take I am going to take the Ocean Wave, believe it or not, and mix it in this interference green. Oh, here we go. This is pretty. Can you see this? And it's going to dry with a blue-green finish. This will be pretty. So this was some of the green pearl, iridescent green, mixed with a little bit of the Ocean Wave. Now it looks like the same shade, slightly light, same blue, slightly lighter value, of course, but it will dry with the green pearl. Right now you're not going to be able to see how that looks under the camera yet because it's not quite dry yet, but you can see it's several shades lighter and it's going to dry the green pearl. Okay, now I'm going to okay, well, I'm back, and last but not least is our set called Tropical Bliss, which is yellow rose, and in this set it's considered our yellow, persimmon, pink azalea, which is our color that has the most red. Again, we can have an argument over this because this violet bougainvillea has a lot of red in it. Sky blue and key lime. Now, the Bougainvillea has some blue mica in it. Hopefully you'll see this when we're painting it. In some sets, this might be considered the most orange in some sets, but obviously in this set it's considered a yellow. I would consider this a yellow-orange. You're going to hear me start talking about colors in two tones because very rarely in life do we run across pure yellow, pure blue, pure red. If you start looking at everything around you that you pass in life, from the curtains to the car to the shoes, there's usually two tones to it. Is it a red violet or a violet blue? Blues are usually blue-green, or they go into a teal, which of course means it's got more yellow, more warm. And then you also have your different shades of blue, from ultramarines to cyans. Blues are kind of an interesting little category there. And of course your greens can go from berries all the way to the highest yellow greens to, you know, a green that is dark in forestry and is almost ready to turn blue. Let's go through these colors. The iridescences that are in them is, in this particular set, is gold pearl, blue pearl, violet pearl, and yellow rose, as I said, is going to be my most yellow. I think all of these need one more little. This set's been waiting to be played with, and I think they all need one single. I can only get a single drop of water out with my bottle, just to make sure there's one single drop in all of them. So there's our yellow rose. As close as I can for you without getting everything out of the screen. It's a really beautiful canary yellow. Dries with a kind of a red gold finish. The orange is persimmon. Persimmon kind of has a lot of red in it. I would consider it a orange red. I had to give it a tone to it. I remember when I made this color, I really wanted it to look just like the outside of a persimmon that was completely ripe and almost too squishy to bite into. Cookie persimmons. Pink Azalea. Love this color. It's a warm pink in a violet pearl. By the way, this Tropical Bliss set is really does do its name justice, because these remind me of bright tropical colors that we'd be seeing maybe in the tropics. Bright clothing. I could see a shirt made with those colors. Bougainvillea is our violet. Apologies. Bougainvillea is our violet. It is a red violet. Yeah, I think in these first few sets I did an awful lot of red to red violets. You're going to see a lot more blue to blue violets as the sets get reintroduced. Also, any of you is like wondering where is a real red? I always get asked that question. The next two sets that are dry actually have the reds in them. Just kind of waiting for the inserts to get into the printer so they can get cut and printed. Your little ID cards are going to go with the sets. But I think I'm going to do a part 2 video this weekend. I'll show the next two sets, and then I have to put them up on the website because they're not up there yet. Only these 4, the Tropical Bliss, Morning Sunrise, Kaleidoscope, and Sparkling Jewels are the next 4 that are up there. Currently they have a little discount on them. It wasn't intentional. Oh, my brush still has some purple in this. This sky blue's coming out pretty. We just made a tertiary shade here. Not much of one, but a little bit of that violet ended up in there. I'm going to get us a cleaner blue, I think, right here just so we could see it. But while I'm talking, we have a coupon right now. We're also moving about 2 miles away from our building to a different space. And so we're trying to raise money. So we've had a coupon code going for about the last 14 days. We extended it. Spring Fling 25 gives you 25% off of any items that aren't already on sale. So in order to protect, and we normally don't put anything new on sale, but to protect these babies, these sets, they're $29.95. I took $5 off. If you buy them in a group, it's still $5 per set. You're saving 20. Because of the sale, we didn't want, we're not in a position to sell these at 25% off. It's no profit in them. Yeah, so here's the blue. Look at the difference of the blue that had a little bit of the violet in it. Now let's intentionally do that. I know I should be finishing my key lime, but while we're on this thought, take a tiny bit of this bougainvillea. I'm going to clean my brush because I don't want to taint the blue with the bougainvillea. I'm going to take what I would consider 2 portions of the blue. Yeah, you get a nice, see if I can pull this down so you guys can see this. A really different shade of blue. Gosh, that's gorgeous. Totally different than the sky blue. A little bit close to what kind of mixed in there when it kind of mixed together. But they're like night and day. Very nice painting that combination. Okay, and I promise I'll get back on track. I'm going to finish my last but not least color, key lime. And that is In Your Face, Pucker Up, Key Lime Green. Now what do I call this color? Yeah, it's a green, but to me it's a yellow green. Yellow is the dominant color in this green. When I think of colors, I think of 2 tones. So, yeah, yellow's the dominant. Okay, so we've already found what happens when we mix those 2 together. I'm going to go ahead and try to make my peach that I tried to do in that earlier set, because now I know I have my pink azalea in here. And I'm actually going to make a pink peach. So instead of starting with yellow first, I'm going to start with the pink azalea first as the main color in it, not just a dollop of the pink or a dollop of red. Clean my brush off because I don't want to taint that cake. Ooh, still, I put a little bit too much yellow rose in there, but see what we're starting to get, this pretty, really pretty coral. I'm going to add some more pink to make it a pinky peach. Here we go. We're getting a warmed up pinky peach. Now, I want to show you some things that we can do. So on the bottom here, let's say here's our pink peach. Right? But our set also has some interference violet in it, violet pearl. So, and the pink azalea has the violet pearl in it. That's why you're getting these little index cards that give you the descriptions of not just the color, but also what mic is in them. Now I'm going to take a little bit of this interference violet, pull it off here to the side. Lighten this up. Violet pearl needs a little more water. One more time, I'm going to try to get a little bit more violet pearl. I was afraid of it. I'm going to taint my cake. That's okay. I'm going to pour everything out of it. It's not going to ruin what's below. I can just brush that out with some clean water and a paintbrush right now. So my cake is nice and clean. Put a drop of water back in it so it starts to soften again. So now I've got a lot of interference violet in here, and just because I know we did that paper in the beginning, the black paper, just for grins and giggles, just so you can see the interference violet on this. That's how much interference violet or violet pearl is in this color that we just mixed. You can see it on the black cardstock, right? So here, different value. You want to go into using a little bit more of the pink in here and step away from how strong that yellow was. Let's add a little bit more pink back into that. But it's not going to be as pink as that pure pink azalea. So I've got a lighter shade of the pink. There's a lot of things you can do. Just at one little drop of color one way or another. And you can make all kinds of variations out of those shades. So to recap, this was the pink azalea with a little bit of the yellow rose. Pink azalea, yellow rose. This was adding some interference violet to it and a tiny bit more pink. The pink azalea got here. Then I added a little bit more pink and I got another shade of a pink, but it's a lighter value of that, but it's kind of got a peachy tone to it. You can really play between the colors going back and forth. You have a lot of flexibility there. Okay, so we also have interference gold or gold pearl. Let's see what I can do with my gold pearl. Now granted, the obvious would be mix it with my yellow rose, mix it with my orange to make a lighter orange, but what if I want to really take this key lime and light it up and make it even more crazy? I could add some green pearl from my other set, but this particular set has gold. We know that this yellow, this color is dominated by yellow, so adding a little bit of the gold pearl might make it real interesting, kind of make that key lime look like it's on steroids. So I'm pulling up that gold off my brush. It's right here at the top where my paintbrush is. I'm trying to make sure I'm in the camera here, guys. Then I'm going to take some of just a tiny bit, just a dot of that key lime. See what happens? One more little dot of key lime. That's definitely going to look pretty against that pink. Especially the lighter pinks right here. That's beautiful right there. Against this pink right here, I'm loving it better. I'll do the whole square of that color so I can not only see what it looks like up against that pink, but I'm kind of liking it with these two shades right here. That makes me happy. It makes me very, very happy. Let's get this camera out a little bit. Okay, before we wrap this up, let me see if there's something else we can mix. The more obvious would be taking, as I said earlier, a little bit of the yellow rose. You want to lighten up your persimmon slightly. Mix that yellow rose. Ooh, I didn't mean to do that, but I grabbed some of the pink azalea. Okay, I'm going to take this as a thingy. So I put pink azalea in there. Remember I got that lighter orange. But I pushed it further, so I'm going to just leave it like this with the pink azalea and see what it's like with pink azalea and the yellow rose to get a lighter value. kind of like the different shade. And then let's see what the persimmon. Yeah, I don't want to take it too much. A little more yellow, the persimmon. A little bit deeper than this, but a little bit lighter than that. So here we go. I just brushed in a tiny bit more of color that has that persimmon in it. Mixed with the yellow rose. You can see how I've got a nice gradient here. This was basically mostly yellow rose with a little bit of persimmon. Add a little bit more yellow rose and I got a nice gradient in there. Anyway guys, I want to wrap this up. I'm sure this video is going to get long with all these sets in here. These are my babies. Thank you for your time. Hopefully we'll be doing a part 2 video this afternoon. I actually want to kind of come back and paint something. Plus there are 2 more sets that are dry for those of you scratching your head wondering if there's a really juicy red. Yes, the next 2 sets that have already been poured have really juicy, hot cinnamon red. Thank you for your time. Have a great day. Bye-bye. So there you have it. Here is the recap. Kind of see all these little color charts that we did. This was our morning sunrise, the first one that we did. Sparkling Jewel. This was the Kaleidoscope. And this one is the Tropical Bliss. And of course these are all 9, I think there's 7 iridescences. This was that little test they did, so we can't count that. But the 7 iridescences, pearl colors that are in our, so all of our sets now is mixing colors, creating the 9-piece sets. I want to remind everybody there is the coupon code SPRINGFLING25. That goes on for about another week. That takes 25% off your order. The watercolors, they're only $5 off. My apologies. There are still some watercolor GoFund sets up there, a limited amount, because as we're making our way through pouring all 210 colors, we're pouring an extra dozen of the full sets, which are all 216, the half sets, which are 108, and the quarter sets, basically 72 colors. And just a reminder, as we reintroduce these to the market and the round jars disappear, there is going to be a time where all the colors are not available to the public.